Welcome back to the 6th episode of Across the Wave, where we fill you in on all the Delbarton sports news that you missed over the last week and highlight some pro and college sports. I'm Lorenzo Scola, joined by Ryan Dooley, and we have a ton to discuss with you today.
Yeah, so starting off with football, the football team had a bye week this week, which was very crucial as they move on to a huge matchup against Bergen Catholic next week. They had time to rehab some key injuries, especially to wide receivers Jack Castellano and Xavier Rodriguez, who will both be active against Bergen Catholic, and also linebacker Vince Aquilaire, who has been out since the start of the season with a knee injury. Having those three guys back is going to be huge for the Green Wave to play a top opponent. Now, they're really going to have to do a great job in the trenches and the offensive line. They don't run a super complex playbook. It's a lot of inside runs, quick screen passes, and then they're going to wear the defense down to open up that deep shot later in the game. And all of those plays are going to start with the offensive line. Bergen Catholic has a very talented defensive line highlighted by a 5-star in the class of 2027. He's going to be very hard to stop. It's going to be crucial for the guys up front to give Gavin Gallardi some time and open up some running lanes as well. After that, they'll have 2 key home games to close out the season in DePaul and Paramus Catholic.
Yeah, definitely. And in some other news for the football, Don Bosco got a key win against St. Joe's, in which St. Joe's missed a last-second field goal. The game went into overtime, and Don Bosco themselves hit a field goal. So that was an exciting game, but we'll see if the Green Wave can pick up a key win. Heading into soccer, after a couple of unusual losses and falling to number 9 in the state, the Green Wave have really worked their way back with 3 straight wins. And since those 2 losses to Mendham and Randolph, they won 3 straight. Starting with the second round of the Morris County tournament, they beat Parsippany 4-1, in which Owen Miller, who they've been working back in all year, had 2 goals, and Aiden Abiri had 2 as well. Then after that, they picked up 2 more wins against Chatham, who they beat 2-0, and Roxbury, who they beat 4-0. They had goals from multiple players in both games, and overall in those games, they outscored opponents 10-1. The team improves to 10-3-1 on the season, and they have a big game tomorrow in the Morris County tournament, in which they'll look to beat Morris Knowles, who is 10-4-1 on the season and just recently lost to Morristown, but they're having a strong season themselves.
Yeah, and going on to the rest of that soccer schedule, they've had a great stretch so far in the past week, really bouncing back after those tough games. They'll hope to keep it going first in the Morris County tournament second round, where they're, as Lorenzo said, they'll face 8th seed Morris Knowles. The winner of that game will face the winner of 4 seed Chatham versus 12 seed Morristown on Sunday the 19th in the semifinals. And moving on to cross country picked up 2 more wins to close out their regular season at a dual meet. First defeating Morris Hills 20-41 and then Randolph 23-38. This moves them to 5-1 on the regular season, moving into postseason play. And Delbarton really had a strong meet with 4 runners inside the top 10. They were led by Ryan Leuenberger, who's been their top guy all year. He placed 2nd overall with a time of 16:54. Then came Matthew Fick Jr., placing 6th with a time of 17:24. Then Matthew O'Reilly at 8 with 17:29, and Hans Clovis right behind him at 9 with 17:30. So overall, just a great meet for the Green Wave as they move into postseason competition. On Tuesday the 14th, they're going to compete in NJAX, which is conference. And then October 21st is going to be the Morris County Championship. So those are 2 huge competitions, and then after that will come states. Really good end of the season, though, for the Green Wave.
Yeah, that cross-country team, they've been doing well all season long, and as you mentioned, great meet for them to improve themselves. And now looking at the sub-varsity schedule, freshman football, who's 2-3, and JV football, who's 4-0, they both followed the varsity team with a bye, and they face the same schedule as they will play Bergen Catholic. So those football levels, they'll be looking for a win this week against a tough all-around Bergen Catholic team in all 3 levels. JV soccer has had an amazing season. They're 6-3-2, coming off a tie with Chatham, and their game tomorrow versus Bergen Catholic got canceled, so they will face Cian Hall next on the 16th. Freshman soccer is also having a great season, and after losing to Seton Hall 4-1, they tied with Chatham 1-1 and beat Roxbury 3-0. They're 8-2-3, and they'll play Seton Hall again, and after that, CBA. So all level of soccers are really looking to finish their season strong.
Yeah, and as for some more commitment news from the class of 2027, another lacrosse commit in Matthew Good, who recently announced his commitment to Lehigh University for lacrosse. Great landing spot for him, and again, we keep saying it every time, but this is such a strong class of 2027 for lacrosse. They're going to have such a bright season this year.
Yeah, definitely. Already 4 committed early on in the junior season, so looking for this lacrosse team to do great this season. And now we'll discuss some pro football news. The Bucks, who are 4-1, and the Niners were 4-1 coming into yesterday. They faced off each other, and the Bucks improved with a 30-19 win to 5-1. They're atop the NFC with their record, and the 49ers, it almost feels like they're cursed with all those injuries they're facing. Fred Warner is now done for the season, ankle injury after a collision with his teammate. So, there's only so much Kyle Shanahan can do with that team. Mac Jones looked decent, but not having many weapons and not having many bodies on defense either will not really be great for that team. And Puka Nacua went down as well with an ankle injury. He'll be out for a couple of weeks. That's not good for the Rams. He's been having an amazing season. Not good for me having him on fantasy. And speaking of those NFC West receivers, Jackson Smith and Jigba had an amazing day yesterday with 150 yards and a touchdown on a 61-yard score, his longest in his career, up to almost 700 yards on the season now. He's looking like an all-pro receiver already. The Colts are 5-1 and looking like one of the best teams in the AFC. And a common theme with all these quarterbacks, Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Mac Jones, they all accomplished a great QB coach throughout their career and battens out after that. So both those teams are looking great. There was a concussion though pre-game with the Colts as Tredarius Ward ran into a teammate. Unusual, but he suffered a concussion, not good for him. And Marvin Harrison Jr. also suffered a concussion as the Cardinals fall to 2-4, and they really look to be far behind the 4-2 rest of those NFC West teams. And the Chiefs, they picked up a 30-17 win versus the Lions, and after that game, Brian Branch just got mad. I guess he said something went on during the game, and he hit Juju Smith-Schuster in the face, a little scuffle there. So not good to see, but for the Chiefs, they're going to get Rashee Rice back next week. So nice for them to improve to 500. And the Panthers are 3-3 after another big game from running back Rico Dowdle. They're looking good. They beat the Cowboys 31-27. The Raiders finally pick up a win as the Titans fire head coach Brian Callahan, who only had 4 wins with 19 losses. So not good for him. And the Titans will be in their head coach search as they'll have the intern head coach now. And the Steelers, they're still atop the AFC North as the rest of those teams are not looking the best. And we'll have the Falcons and Bills and Commanders and Bears today, and we'll discuss that next week for you.
Yeah, and as for college football, just a great slate of matchups this weekend. First off, Indiana and Oregon turned out to be a great matchup. Indiana claims a 30-20 win and jumps over Oregon to become the 3rd-ranked team in the nation. Texas bounced back and beat 6th-ranked Oklahoma and pushes them back into the top 25. They're now ranked 21st in the country after a 23-6 win. A nail-biter in Missouri. Missouri driving down on the final drive of the game. However, game-sealing interception from Alabama gives them a 27-24 win in a thriller. And another huge loss for Penn State as they fall to Northwestern. Season-ending injury for Drew Aller, and also head coach James Franklin fired. Some major changes coming for Penn State moving forward. And we're also going to have big matchups next week, starting in the SEC with 5th-ranked Ole Miss with 9th-ranked Georgia as the headliner. They'll also have 6th-ranked Alabama versus 11th Tennessee, and also 10th-ranked LSU versus 17th-ranked Vanderbilt. So great matchups there. And we'll also see Notre Dame face a top 25 matchup against 20th ranked USC. It's going to be a huge game for Notre Dame. If they want a chance to make the playoffs, they need a quality win, and that's going to come in this game, so we'll see what happens there. Packers claim a win over the Bengals. Joe Flacco trying to find his footing with the new team. Tough NFC opponent, tough game for the Bengals. Still a solid win for the Packers as they try to find their footing after 2 rough games and a loss and a tie. And also the Giants pick up a huge Thursday night football win over the Eagles. Jackson Dart again had a great showing as he's really emerged as one of the top rookie quarterbacks. And really this Giants team totally bounced back after that rough start with Russell Wilson. Jackson Dart really providing this team with a fire that's lit them to a 2-3 stretch over the past 3 games.
Yeah, definitely. The one play that Russell Wilson had to go and Brian Daboll had to go in and find out what's going on with Jackson Dart. So that tells you how much he values his QB. And now, as we do with the past episodes, we pick one fantasy player that we think will do good in the upcoming week and for the rest of the season potentially. And my pick this week is Chargers running back Kamani Vidal. He's 26% rostered, and he exploded for 124 rushing yards on 18 attempts Sunday against the Dolphins. Going into the week, Hassan Haskins was projected to be the lead back because of Amari Hampton's absence, who's not coming back till week 10 as he's on IR, so that he's out until at least week 10. But it looked like Kamani Vidal, he outplayed Hassan Haskins with 43-20 snap count and untouched him 21-7. So look for him to have another big game in the upcoming weeks until Amari Hampton is good to return, and even after that to keep him healthy.
For my pick, I was just talking about him. I'm going to go with Jackson Dart. Depends on who your current QB is, but he's only rostered in around 35% of leagues, so he's very available. And he's put up 15 plus in all 3 of his starts, putting up 23 this past week. Really looks like a solid pickup depending on your current QB situation. And now moving on to the MLB, we had a lot of action in the division series. First off, the Blue Jays topped the Yankees in 4, and they move on to face the Mariners, who beat the Tigers with an electric Game 5 win off a 15-inning walk-off single from Jorge Polanco. Crazy stuff to end that series. Also, the Cubs fought to force a Game 5 by winning 2 straight elimination games. However, fall 3-1 in Game 5 to the Brewers, who advanced to the LCS. And also just heartbreak for Philadelphia Phillies fans. They lose on a gut-wrenching error by Orion Kerrigan in the 11th inning in Game 4 and lose 2-1 to the Dodgers, who move on to face the Brewers. And Game 1 of the ALCS has already happened last night, and the Mariners took Game 1 over the Blue Jays 3-1. The NLCS will be starting tonight as we're filming this on Monday the 13th, and it's just going to be a packed week of baseball going through. I always love the NLCS. Great time of year, great teams in it. It's going to be a lot of fun to follow.
Yeah, definitely. I stayed up for that Mariners game. Wow. You could just see Tigers bullpen getting tired. It was bound for the Mariners to take advantage, and they did. But that will do it for episode 6 of Across the Wave. We had a great time filling up this schedule for you. There was a ton to talk about. We'll be back next week to discuss football and more. For Lorenzo, Scola, and Ryan Dooley,
thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.